Lianne Kim is a business coach and the founder of Mamas & Co., a community for mama entrepreneurs. She is the host of the Business of Thinking Big podcast and the author of the best-selling book, Building a Joyful Business. Lianne is on a mission to help women make a great living on their own terms, doing what they love. So let's head on over to the couch and let's talk with Lianne. All right, welcome to Couch Time with Amy Wine. I am here with a good friend of mine. Her name is Lianne Kim, and I cannot wait for you all to hear what she has to share. And it reminds me of something I saw. My friendship with her reminds me of something I saw on Instagram lately. And I'm probably going to botch this, but there was a quote and it said, 10 years ago, don't talk to strangers on the internet. They're dangerous. And then 1 year ago, hey, I'm going on vacation with my best friends that I met on the internet.
So true.
Now, we didn't really technically meet on the internet, but that's how we talk now. So we met in a mastermind. Kind of did.
We met in a room together, but then our relationship blossomed over the internet. So that kind of counts.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to count that because I don't think I even talked to you a ton during that first mastermind. So it kind of just blossomed from that. I know from talking to you, I love what you do in helping mompreneurs, right? And you just light up when you talk about it. So tell me, what is it you love about helping them?
Oh, I mean, how long do you have, Amy?
Okay. 30 minutes.
I could talk about this all day, but I'll boil it down to this. I was a mom, I was working a corporate gig. I had two kids fairly close together. And I just knew there was something in me that craved more. And it wasn't like anything was wrong. I loved my kids. I loved my job. I was good at it, but I just knew I was meant for something more than building someone else's dreams. And so I had the courage to start dabbling in sort of side hustles. And eventually I built what is now my community, Mamas & Co. But back then it was it's the same Facebook group, actually. It was just a little Facebook group with local Toronto-based moms who also happened to have a business, and we would get together for a glass of wine and we would talk shop. And one day, again, I had the courage to say, hey, I think I know a little bit about sales. I mean, at that point, I'd been in sales for like 15 years. So I felt like I knew more than someone who didn't. And I was like, do you guys want to hear about that? And the whole thing just kind of took off from there. And what I realized is all these women were so brilliant at what they did. They just didn't come with the sales and the marketing and the business know-how. And so I took that little local group and I turned that into what is now my thriving community of mama entrepreneurs. And in addition to that, I do coaching. I do some group coaching programs as well as one-on-one coaching with mama entrepreneurs who like me just wanted more. They knew that there was something more out there for them. And I will say, I think why I'm so passionate about this is because that I have seen my quality of life skyrocket since I had the courage to leave my day job, which was now 4.5 years ago, and go all in on my business. It was terrifying. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I figured it out. And because of that, we have more freedom, more flexibility, more time with one another as a family than I ever thought possible. And I want that for every mama. I want that for every woman to be able to make money doing something we love on our own terms.
Yeah. And I think a lot of moms don't have the confidence or they fear what if, right? What if? And we're so busy in life, like moms are busy, especially ones that want to be entrepreneurs as well, right? That they're like, I can't even, shower alone or put my shirt on right today without, because I have so many things running to and fro. So fitting that in might seem impossible. What would you say to that woman, that mom that wants to do it, but doesn't think she has time?
Well, the first thing I would say is there is a reason why you are feeling this way. And it is because society expects us to wear all the hats. We are expected to be great mothers and be great partners and be great at work, and then have time and energy for our friends and for the PTA and the bake sales and all the stuff. Like it's expected of us. So if you're feeling exhausted, especially from this past year and a half, I don't blame you. And there is something better out there for you. So just, if you're feeling stuck in the overwhelm, I work with a lot of women that are very early stages in their business. So they'll join Mamas and Co. when they sort of have like an idea for a business, or maybe their business is a side hustle, or maybe they've just made the leap to quit their job. So that's where a lot of them find me. And I know that a big part of that is the mental game, right? It's having the belief that we can do this thing. We want it, we crave it, we see other women doing it. And that's really why I started the community, was because I needed those examples of women who had done what I wanted to do, that were just that little bit further ahead. And it's remarkable. You surround yourself with this because we met in a mastermind together.
That's right.
You surround yourself with the right people, with the right mental fuel. Anything is possible. But I just want to acknowledge that if you're having a season or a day where it just feels like it's not possible, that's okay too. And know that, how I did it, how you did it, Amy, is one step at a time, right? We just take that one step. When you're a mom and you have your own and you have a job, at the end of the day, if you have a bad day or if you have to stay home with a sick kid, doesn't matter, you're still going to get a paycheck. That's not the case when you're self-employed, when you're a coach or consultant, which is, I work with a lot of those. Like, Amy, if we don't show up, we don't get paid.
Yeah, right? That's right.
I mean, I have expanded. I do have a team. I've got some great coaches working for me now, but at the end of the day, you have to show up because, your paycheck is in your own hands. And that can be a big and scary leap to make when you're just used to having that kind of, your revenue was handed to you no matter what. And so this past year with the pandemic, my kids were home and not by choice, let's just say.
Right. Yeah, in Canada, they didn't allow it.
Yeah, our schools were closed for a significant part of the last school year and then some. And so, I never envisioned myself being a stay-at-home mom. And shout out to all my stay-at-home moms. Like, I think if that is your calling, you are truly an amazing being. But it was not my calling. It really felt like all of a sudden, all the things that I wanted to do just had to be backburnered because they were here all the time. And they're only little, they're grades 2 and 3. So I had to, be there. I had to make sure that they were logging in. And, it was just, it was a very heavy season. And it's part of the reason why I wrote my book, because all of these badass, can I say that on your show? Badass?
Yes, absolutely.
All of these badass amazing female entrepreneurs, mamas who were doing amazing things and on this growth path, all of a sudden it was like everything shut. And everything was closed to them. And we had to kind of put our own dreams on the back burner. And it was just a day, it was probably around like April of 2020. So early pandemic. And I just remember I got off a day, it was all coaching calls back to back. And I'm sure as a counselor and with a team of counselors, Amy, you can relate to this. It just felt so heavy. Everybody was struggling. And I just said, I have to do something here. And the community is great, but it's an investment to work with me. So what can I do? How can I help more people on a grander scale at a lower cost and help them work through some of this misery, really, like just lackluster life. And so that's why I sat down and wrote the book, Building a Joyful Business, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you make, how much external success you have. If you're not feeling joyful and personally fulfilled, none of it matters. There's a term that I have coined that unfortunately I came up with the idea far too late. The book was already printed, but I call it last listitis. We are, as working mothers, we are suffering from last listitis because we are always last on our own list. We never put ourselves first.
Right.
And I've just seen far too many women have these entrepreneurial dreams and, really solid business ideas, really like, products and services that have legs and can't get them off the ground because they're just constantly, as you said, saving it for another day. Oh, well, I can't because, Billy's struggling in math, and I can't because Johnny just lost his job. And, there's always a reason. There's always a reason. And if we're not careful, we'll spend our whole lives suffering from last listitis. We have to have the courage to put ourselves first on the list. And what happens when we do that is not only does our own joy become more present, but that trickles down to everyone in our life, from our family, our partners, our customers. If you have a business, if you don't have a business, your coworkers, everyone that you are around is lifted up by your presence because you have the courage to put your own health and wellness and dreams first. And it's not easy. And for years, I put everybody else before me when they were little, when my kiddos were little. But we have to have the courage to try, because it really does make for a better life. Too often I see women playing the victim of their own life. And when you do that, there's nothing empowering about that, right? There's nothing transformative. There's no way you can get to your best version and play the victim at the same time. So we have to be willing to call ourselves on that when we are saying things like, and I hear this all the time, I'd love to grow my business, but I just can't right now because my kids are home. Right.
Yeah.
And I have no childcare. That's a big one. Or I'd love to grow my business, but I can't because my husband isn't supportive of it. There's always a way. I think if it's something that you truly want, there's always a way. We just have to have the courage to have those conversations and make those decisions and all of the things,
Yeah, I say your why has to be bigger than your why not.
I love that.
Yeah, it really does. Your why has to be bigger than all of those excuses and being the victim and all of those reasons why. All right, so I have one last question for you when we wrap up. But I also want to tell everybody before I ask my favorite question, everything we talked about with Lianne will be in the show notes. So you just go to the show notes. You'll have the links to her book. You'll have the links to find out information about her and get to know her more. And you can follow her social, all those things. So, but here's my last question. What is something you do when you know nobody is watching?
Ooh, something I do when I know nobody is watching. Is this like a guilty pleasure kind of question?
Can be, I guess.
This is kind of a silly answer, but I will watch guilty pleasure TV and eat hot buttered popcorn by myself in my sweats with no bra, like that. If I think about like my ideal Thursday or Friday night, that's it. And actually my husband's away this weekend. He's on an annual boys trip that he's been going on for, get this, 30 years. They haven't, I think it's even more than that. I think it might be 35 years they've been doing this trip. So, while he's away and once the kids are in bed, that's totally my guilty pleasure. I'll get in addition to that, I'll even get my jade roller out and I'll roller my face when I know no one's watching. And like, just, that's my idea of like a wild night for sure.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It actually sounds perfect to me. So I've enjoyed having you on here. It's always a pleasure. And I hope you get to travel soon.
Oh, yes. And before we sign off, I actually have some free copies of my book that I'd like to give away to your audience, if that's okay, Amy.
I would love that.
Perfect. So if you've been listening to this conversation and you are wanting more, then you can get a free copy of my book. You just head on over to liannekim.com/book. And when you are there, use the promo code, choose a single copy, put it in your cart, use the promo code AMYW, AMYW, all one word, all caps, and your book will be for free. You just need to pay the nominal shipping fee. But yeah, we have 30 copies to give away. So you need to be one of the first 30.
Okay. First 30. Awesome. Thank you for doing that. That's exciting. I'm glad you did that.
Oh, I'm excited too. I'm very excited to get this book. That's how passionate I am about getting this book in the hands of people who need it, especially the mamapreneurs out there. Because I just think the time has come for us to start living our wildest dreams. And this book is going to help you do that. So thank you for letting me do it, Amy.
Absolutely agree. And thank you for being here.